Good morning, Chattanooga. Here's a quick look at the top 5 news stories you need to know today. First of all, just 6 votes separate 2 candidates in the District 9 City Council race. And now the question is, will there be a runoff? Former City Councilman Yusuf Hakeem and incumbent Peter Murphy are head-to-head in the race. Murphy says the election should go to a runoff. Hakeem says he's prepared to move forward either in a runoff or in court. Write-in votes for the race show 5 names and 2 check marks. The Hamilton County Election Commission has voted to look further at those ballots and make a decision on Wednesday. If the write-in ballots are thrown out, Hakeem wins. If there's a runoff election, it would be held April 9th. While doubts linger in the District 9 race, there's no question that Mayor-elect Andy Berke is preparing for his new job. Burke has announced a 13-person transition team with 2 leaders, local attorneys Wade Hinton and Travis McDonough.
They know our community. They've been active in our community. Over the next 6 weeks, they're going to provide great leadership about how we continue to transform it into the great city that we want it to be. Well, I'm forward-looking. One of the things that I want to make sure that my administration does is has a government that is efficient and focused on the priorities of the city. If we ensure that we have a government that's set up to focus on those priorities, then bring in the best people to make those things happen, we'll have a great 4 years.
Burke says the 13-person team is diverse and a sign of what his administration is going to look like. The team will help name staff for Burke's administration and gather input from the public on big issues. The city charter says the mayor must fill 6 positions in 60 days, including police and fire chiefs, a finance officer, and the court clerk and city attorney. Public meetings will be held across the city so people can tell the new administration what they want. Next up, students at a local middle school are receiving death threats on a social website called Instagram. An anonymous user posted these messages and dozens of photos of students on an account called The Hit List. Soddy Daisy police are investigating the threats. While they haven't identified who is behind the account, one message suggests that the sender is enrolled at the school. Yesterday, officials seized computers and cell phones they say are connected to the case. Detectives are working with Instagram and internet service providers to try to pinpoint where the messages came from. Officers have been assigned to each school in Soddy Daisy since the school massacre in Newtown, Connecticut, but more officers were called in to provide extra protection at Soddy Daisy Middle on Thursday. Next up, 24 Hickson High School students and teachers toured the White House yesterday. 2 days before tours there are suspended indefinitely. The 11th grade Wildcats submitted their social security numbers for Secret Service background checks months ago. But now the White House says tours are canceled until further notice because of the sweeping budget cuts known as the sequester. U.S. Representative Chuck Fleischmann has already told 3 groups they won't be able to tour the White House next week. Nearly 500 local residents asked Chattanooga's congressman for tours in March. It's not entirely clear how money will be saved by eliminating the White House tours, though most of the cost is for security alone. The Secret Service says it takes about 37 officers to secure visits, but they won't be laying anyone off. And finally, National Guard troops have returned to Chattanooga after a year-long deployment to the Middle East. Families and friends waited more than 3 hours for a bus carrying nearly 50 soldiers to arrive. Take a look.
They just got back from Jordan, which is the base of our operations, where the majority of us were at. We just got through training over 1,400 Jordanian soldiers to deploy to Afghanistan.
It's great to be home. There's emotions. There's about 1,000 going through me right now.
It's like wedding day and Christmas. I haven't seen his face in months. We weren't able to Skype as much this go round. So every time I did get to see him or see a picture, I was, oh my gosh, that's him. And so I was so nervous that I wouldn't even see him come off the bus.
And weather today will be sunny with a high near 59. Tonight will be mostly clear with a low around 33. I'm Harrison Keeley. For more on these stories and updates throughout the day, follow us on Facebook and visit timesfreepress.com.